While this goes on, I lay quietly across... Good start.
Nice start.
Excellent start. While this goes on, I lay quietly against my platform, trying not to start crying again. My mind keeps wandering back to just hours ago, how everything seemed fine for the most part.
What? I think you need to go back more than a few hours ago. Like,
I was gonna say, like...
maybe like a whole week ago,
Yeah.
when you were back home.
Like, before then was discovering all the internet search history and text history with your ex-boyfriend that you're getting too involved in again, and before that was Flynn.
Yeah. Like I said, I'd just go back
Flynn was less
go back
bad
like a
than
month
this,
or
but-
something.
I keep wishing I could go back to the beginning of the week. Pick a different route, maybe. Go hang out with Carl instead, where I only suffer a permanent leg injury.
And we had to cuddle on a beanbag chair.
Oh god. Considering how much worse this already seems than last time, and last time he suffered a permanent injury.
That kept coming up in terms of like
I'm just worried now.
describing detailed pain.
Thinking about that makes me sentimental, and I'm longing to see Leo, TJ, Carl, Jenna, and even Flynn again.
I have to say even Flynn,
Even
because Flynn
Flynn.
sucks.
Where are they all right now? Duke said things were bad out there. Are they all in some sort of trouble? If that's the case, the cops should be here by now.
No, I told you they're not coming.
Someone would have gotten the word out, wouldn't they?
No.
If people were murdering each other, like what happened to Janice, there's no way that wouldn't be the case. Brian lets out another explosive laugh, wiggling his feet on his armrest of the couch. I'm a sexual abuser. Gosh.
I'm watching cartoons.
No. Duke, why did you have to leave us here?
I know, Duke seems so much better, and he's not even good.
No, it's not. He's not. He killed Janice, but he looks like the good cop at this point.
He's very much good cop.
Earlier, he tried to feed me some dried cereal, but it was like cardboard in my mouth. And after only a handful, I couldn't eat anymore.
He's like Lucky Charms. Like,
I swear to God, that's his idea. What if I fucking sat up? What is this setup? What the fuck? I'm just thankful he's preoccupied with something else right now. There's a soft knock at the door, and Brian jumps, quickly changing the channel to golf before he gets up and lumbers over to the door.
he's embarrassed.
I'm a man who watches man things. He pauses, then rifles through some magazines on a small table next to the couch. Pulls out a handgun that looks cartoonishly small in his hands before making his way to the door. I weakly turn my head in his direction and watch Brian open the door a crack. He chuckles.
World's going to shit, and you're still coming here for more, huh? Is it Clint?
Maybe. Brian pushes the door open a bit more, and I catch sight of a skinny, malnourished polecat.
Yeah.
Clint is looking up at Brian, appearing even more disheveled than usual.
Oh, I feel bad for Clint now.
Yeah, well, we know he survived, which we weren't sure about.
Yeah. Are we doing...
Clint had stepped up onto the first step and looked into the trailer, immediately spotting me.
He's gonna be jealous.
He stares, the shock on his face almost comical. Brian turns to see what he's looking at, as if he'd forgotten that I was even there. He gives a start before shoving Clint back out the door.
I'm full today. Already got someone taking your spot.
Clint's now out of my line of sight, but I can hear him shuffling around in the dead vegetation.
Please, I really need something right now. We can do it outside.
There's a moment of silence as Brian seems to contemplate that.
No, I got some business to take care of. Tomorrow, maybe.
Damn it, Clint almost gave us an opening to, like, escape or something.
I know.
Clint starts to whine again, but Brian swings the door shut with a bang.
Fucking dopehead.
'Cause you're clean. Brian walks back into the room, looking down at me, then back at the TV.
Isn't Brian also a dealer?
Yeah.
Okay, so Clint might not... Clint might not actually be genuinely looking for this kind of, like, intimacy.
No, no.
He probably just wants the drugs.
I thought that was pretty... No, it's pretty clear from how not great things were going.
Yeah, but some people are really actually into being physically hurt.
Yeah, but that setup was definitely, like, he was not having a good time. This is him doing stuff for drugs.
Yeah, but it's gonna seem like you're not having a good time when you are having a good time if you're doing stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, probably shouldn't have let you see him, though. Or probably shouldn't have let him see you, though.
He mumbles before sitting down and switching the channel back to the cartoon. I stare up at my reflection.
And I like how clumsy he was. You just let him... I mean, granted, considering his line of work, this might be like a normalcy for Brian, but like, I feel like it's already pretty incriminating.
Yeah.
If you need to be a witness called to something like non-consensual holding of a person. You really shouldn't let people see that you're doing super illegal stuff.
No, he's not all that put together. Remember when we thought that we were going to spend the day watching our relationship with Leo crumble? That would have been nice.
That seems like so far away now.
Even from here, I can see that my eyes are bloodshot, the fur on my face matted. There are dark spots on my shirt, too. And distantly, I wonder if Brian had broken ribs when he punched me. I think he'd be really aware of that. I think you feel that when you breathe. You'd probably be really aware if you started bleeding through your own hand. And through your own, like, your torso and your shirt. Like, you'd be really aware of how fucked you are. Then I remember that his hand had been bleeding when he did that. I feel strange now. Numb. It kind of feels good after the whirlwind of emotions I'd had earlier. I still haven't caught up to everything that's happened since I was at that diner. Would I ever be able to? Would I have time if Brian planned to? A tinge of panic pierces through my fog of dissociation, and I clench my eyes shut, screwing up my face as I try not to start crying again. Brian snorts again at something on the TV. I open my eyes to the distraught otter laying on the wooden torture contraption. Why is there a mirror on your ceiling?
You fucking know why there's a mirror on the ceiling.
I surprise myself a little by asking the question. Apparently, I really don't give a fuck at this point. I see Brian look over at me from my peripheral vision.
You really want to know?
I shrug the best I can, continuing to stare passively up at the ceiling. The movement sends electric tingles through my arms, which are completely numb at this point.
Well...
Brian shifts around on the couch as he tries to get a better look at me.
When I has my fun, I likes them to see what I'm doing.
I stare up at the mirror, my expression still blank.
I mean, it's not just about what I'm feeling. What they're feeling is important, too.
Fear. That's what Brian likes.
Sure, I can choke you all at once, and cuts you all at once, but when I do that, you're not thinking about what's actually happening.
Brian shifts into a sitting position, now more interested in our conversation than his cartoons. I realize now I've probably made a mistake.
Yeah. Wanna see?
I keep my face blank, staring at myself. I don't say anything. Brian gets up anyway and comes around to stand over me, above my head, blocking my view of the mirror. His reeking stench fills my nostrils, but still, I try not to give him the satisfaction of seeing how afraid I'm starting to become. His massive hands reach around my head and start to fiddle with something I can't see. With one quick motion, the strap comes back down over my neck and my eyes widen. I grit my teeth and try to press my head as hard as I can into the platform behind my head to lessen the strain. It's not a lot of pressure, but it's enough to make me want to gag. Brian chuckles again.
See, you're probably only thinking about how it's hard to breathe right now, just trying to figure out how to make it stop. But...
Brian leans back, revealing a terror-stricken otter on the ceiling, his eyes bulging, teeth bared.
Now you see what's happening to you. Your brain telling you, yeah, this is really fucking happening.
The leather squeaks a little as he pulls it down tighter. I start to writhe at this point, and I can see my tongue sticking out, my face a mask of horror.
You feel more, and that's what I like.
Brian comes back into my vision, his expression different. He's really searching my face now, like he's looking for something.
Maybe you like it too.
Finally, with a final squeak of leather, Brian lets go, and I gasp hungrily for air. Brian pets my head while I cough, inhaling shakily.
Heh, don't exaggerate. That wasn't nothing.
He moves away again, and slumps back into the couch, pulling at his crotch.
Your buddy Clint gets it way worse.
I choose not to stare at the choking otter on the ceiling, and instead look out the window, feeling fresh tears roll down my face. I'm not sure if it's from the choking or the black hole in my chest. I watch the leaves rustling around in the wind and think about where the others are, why no one's coming to help me. Finally, I turn my head back to the ceiling. The blank expression has returned. Brian continues to chuckle at his cartoons, and despite myself, I ask another question. Have you ever killed someone? For the first time, Brian ignores me. I don't say anything for the rest of the day.
It's probably for the best.
Did you kill Keith? I stare into the darkness, the only faint source of light coming from the moonlit leaves through the window. It's been less than 24 hours since I'd been kidnapped. Still, it makes no sense that someone hasn't found me. Is what Duke said about the town true? I wonder what Leo's doing right now, if what he's going through is just as bad. I doubt it is. At least Duke seemed slightly less unhinged. So he's probably in Duke's house. I give a soft, trembling sigh, my head still throbbing from the day's events. The thunderous snoring from Brian is literally shaking the platform I'm on, and though I drifted off a few times, I can't sleep. He's right next to me, his stained couch apparently doubling as his bed. I shift around on the contraption for what feels like the 100th time, trying to get comfortable, when I feel something. There's more give in my right arm than I remember. In fact, it's incredible loose.
Incredible loose.
Incredible loose. I pause, then experimentally wiggle my arm around before easily pulling my hand out of the restraint.
Well, that's lucky.
I freeze, disbelieving, not wanting to believe in case it wasn't true somehow. Oh, is he asleep right now?
Perhaps. I was going to say, I was wondering if maybe just Brian had never used this table for this long of time enough to know that there's like a slight give that happens over time with the right hand restraint.
Like it comes off.
Well, like,
Yeah.
you know, you wiggle it enough times, like, but I mean, you know, Chase has been here like all night, so maybe, but it doesn't seem very likely because I'm sure people thrash in it pretty often.
Painfully, I crane my neck to look at my right arm. Though it's dark, I can see my arm is clearly free. My elbow on the board, hand in the air. I swallow hard, listening to Brian snores again to make sure he's actually asleep. I try to keep my breathing even, not wanting to make any more sound than I need to, but I'm almost sobbing with relief at this point. Now I'm able to partially sit up and make short work of the left arm restraint. Fully sitting up now, I do away with the final 2 ankle restraints and slide off the table quietly. Brian is still snoring at full volume, and it covers up what little sound I make.
Just don't trip again, Chase, like you always trip.
Oh no! He always trips.
He does
every
always
time.
trip.
Making my way over the messy floor, I find the steps, and I try not to stumble down them to open the door.
Yeah, please don't fucking fall right now, dude.
Incredibly, there's no squeaking or rattling as I do, and before I know it, I'm outside in the cool air. I run through the woods and onto the road, sobbing with joy now that I see Leo's house.
I feel like this is a dream, because last time we were dreaming, we saw the same sky. Like, they used the same picture for our dream last time, and I'm wondering if that's just... I mean, it could just be outside, which is totally doable, but...
Yeah, no, this is a bad sign. The lights are on, and as I'm running towards it, I think I even see Carl's horns through the window.
Yeah, so that doesn't make sense.
I run up the steps onto the porch and bang on the door. Leo! Carl! I got out! Open the door! Don't announce yourself. I'm just losing my mind at his behavior, even though it's probably a dream. I'm just like, if you find... I don't know why he would see Carl, and he probably doesn't, but if in any way he sees... If he's running towards Leo's house, there's a significant chance that Leo's imprisoned there by Duke. Like there's a good chance Duke's there right now. I'm like, do not announce yourself like this. What are you doing?
Well, and then if you, I mean, I know that he's probably like excited that he's free, but if you like listen to anything that Duke had been saying about the town going crazy, I think you just kind of like want to maybe look in the windows a little bit before banging on the door and be like, is it cool in here? Like, is everyone of sound mind in here?
I try the handle and it opens, swinging inward to blackness. I stare, trying to comprehend. You really fell for that? I hear my own voice, but it isn't me that said it. Instead, it's higher pitched, like I'm hearing it from a video recording rather than my own throat. Then, I'm sucked into blackness and slammed hard back down onto a wooden platform.
Yep.
All at once, I realize what happened, and my heart feels like it drops through my chest. Of course, a dream. I'm back in the hot, stifling trailer, and it looks even darker than it did in my dream. I close my eyes and start to cry quietly. It feels like I've just found out that I'm locked up in a psycho's trailer all over again. In my head, I turn my head and look out the window above Brian, longing for some daylight, and I see Clint! Did I guess it right? Then I see two wide eyes set against a black face staring back in at me. I jump. The fuck? Am I still dreaming?
Yeah.
Then I see two beige-colored ears above the head. Kudzu.
Oh.
I gasp again, quieter. I'm overcome with relief once again, but the fear that I'm still dreaming is almost overpowering it. I wave my left hand as much as I can, but I'm not sure he can see it. I realize that none of the light from the window is falling on me. Kudzu moves to the side, then back again, squinting, clearly trying to see inside. I think about making a noise, calling out his name, but I have no idea how deep of a sleeper Brian is. As if on cue, Brian gives a loud snore and rolls over. Kudzu seems to have heard it, his big ears perking before he ducks down. My heart hurts just losing sight of him, and I strain at my bonds. Brian seems to be waking up, though, mumbling something in his sleep.
No. You're dead.
He's probably killed someone. I pull with my right arm again, in case my dream has been onto something. In case my dream had been onto something. It doesn't budge. Like it was subconsciously telling him that his wrist thing...
He was like, psst, psst, your right arm. Wiggle your right arm.
Cheat codes.
Fucking cunt.
Brian really started to kick around now, his massive form rolling over onto his stomach, rubbing his face into the pillow. He starts to make loud gasping sounds, and he gets to his knees on the bed.
Back off!
He holds his hands up, snarling.
You're dead. You're dead.
I stare at him, almost forgetting about Kudzu. His eyes are open, and they snap to me, his hand still out.
No.
His face is etched with horror, eyes wide and white in the darkness. He backs up against the back of the couch as he continues to stare. I stare back at him, unsure what he's going to do. After about 10 seconds, his expression starts to melt from horror to confusion. I continue to stare back, bracing for another explosion from him, for whatever reason. His shoulders droop again and he frowns at me.
What? Did you see her?
My mouth is dry, so I have to swallow a few times before I can answer. Who? Brian doesn't respond and starts to look around the trailer. I see Kudzu starting to poke his head up again. At this point, I've made it up in my mind that I want to escape tonight. I'm not going to spend another minute with this maniac. Making a decision that could mean life or death so suddenly is terrifying and exhilarating. I don't give myself time to think about it. Brian. He doesn't answer, starting to get up and look around. Brian? I have to go to the bathroom. Brian sighs as he flips on the light. Kudzu drops out of view again. Brian heaves a huge sigh before turning to the counter. He reaches for a pan and dumps out some murky water into the sink. I wrinkle my nose. He shrugs at me.
What? This'll do.
No, I have to use your toilet. My stomach is feeling really bad right now. Brian turns and really looks at me.
Like what? You gotta puke?
I shift on the platform. No, I think I have diarrhea. Brian pulls a look of extreme disgust, which is kind of funny for someone who apparently never showers.
Oh, come on.
He glares at me like it's my fault that I might be sick. Which it is, because I'm making it up. He looks around a while, then back down at the pan. The bear seems to quickly disregard that idea, and sets it back down on the counter. He comes over next to me and starts to undo the restraints.
If you try anything...
No, I promise, I just really need to go. Brian grumbles as he starts to roughly undo my restraints. I take care not to look at his crotch as it's pressed uncomfortably close to my face. As he pulls my right arm out, I gasp in shock and pain. It feels like a million needles are poking through it as he pushes my arm down next to my body. Wait, fuck. Brian pauses as he watches me grimace in pain, and I worry he's getting off on it. At that moment, though, there's some rustling next to the window, and I try to groan over it. Oh, fuck. The bear looks at me, bewildered and annoyed.
What?
Now my dream seems even more ridiculous that I'd so easily been able to run off. Everything's fallen asleep, just take it slower. Brian sighs even louder and gets to work on my left arm anyway. This time he doesn't yank my arm out though, and lets me slowly move it on my own. It's not nearly as bad as my right arm, which is still violently tingling, but I have to grit my teeth as I move it to rest on my chest. Luckily my legs are fine, and I'm able to move them easily after Brian takes them out. It makes me worry about what I'm going to try, since I'm not nearly as strong as I should be. Brian is clearly on guard, as he helps me sit up from the contraption, keeping his distance as he holds onto my arm. I sit there a moment, letting the circulation return back to my limbs as I try not to fall over from the dizziness. Brian finally gives a growl of annoyance and pulls me off the wooden platform. It's that song. It's time to go. 9 Inch Nails action mode. I realize that this is the moment I have to make my move.
It's just like, you just know something's gonna go down every time the song plays.
Usually monster is chasing us in a dream or something.
It's very effective. I mean, this is the monster right here in front of us.
There's nothing nearby for me to grab, so instead I swing with everything I have to smash my fist up against the side of Brian's face. That was his plan?
Dude.
Is to fight him?
He was punching himself in the head earlier. You're not gonna be able to put a dent in that bear's head.
Oh, no. That was his only plan.
Chase, come on now. You didn't, like,
I thought he was gonna try to get out the window of the bathroom or something, like...
I mean... Yeah, but that's you having faith that that bathroom's gonna even have a window.
Something cracks in my hand and pain runs up my arm.
Dude,
great.
You just crippled yourself.
Played yourself. I gasp and cringe and Brian grunts. Brian pauses and slowly brings his hand up to feel the side of his face. I guess I'd hoped that I'd be able to knock him out with one punch.
What the hell are you thinking? Look at this bear's massive skull.
But doing that as an otter to a bear, especially a bear like Brian, would have been quite the feat.
I would love to see in real life an otter try to beat up a bear. I would not like to see that because the otter would get eaten.
No. Brian does seem stunned though, and that's all I need as I take a huge breath and scream as loud as I can. Kudzu!
Brian's probably like, what kind of witchcraft did you just say?
Pocket sand. Brian whirls on me, swinging his fist along with him. I duck immediately, covering my head with one arm, but the other still locked in Brian's grasp.
You're not even a good runner, Chase. You're not able to run away.
He only partially misses, his fist catching the top of my head and my arm. It knocks me to the ground, and I sit there in a daze. I don't have long to collect myself because Brian is pulling a foot back to kick me.
Shut up!
I roll to the side and start trying to back away while I'm crouched, but Brian yanks me up by my arm, my head jerking back with the force. Now I'm starting to wonder if Kudzu ended up leaving. If that is the case, then I'm definitely dead, because there's no way I'm going to break his grasp. As I'm thinking this, the door bangs open. Brian's in the middle of drawing his fist back when it happens, and he freezes, looking over at the door. Oh, he's so small.
Oh no, he's like 4 feet smaller.
Oh no. Do you have Leo's gun?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Kudzu stands there, his eyes wide behind his back. His black mask, chest heaving. He's scared, I can tell, but Brian's shock gives me the opening I was looking for. I reach in between his legs and grab his balls. Weirdly enough, the first thought I have is about how fucking big it is.
It's a bear, of course it is.
It takes both of my hands to wrap around it fully, and when I do, I twist and yank down as hard as I can.
Keep both hands.
I pour all of my fear and anger into the attack, snarling as I do. The scream that Brian lets out is so high-pitched that I feel that every glass in the trailer is about to explode.
That's my purse, I don't know you.
That's my purse,
I don't know you.
Swear to God. No.
I mean, you know, that's like the great, equalizer. Like, just
God.
Kicking someone in the nads, you know?
There is just a lot of testicle damage in Howley stories so far. Oh my goodness. Oh. That's like the primary, like that's how Ad Astra opens, and it's like the primary form of defense that he teaches Marco for dealing with Cassius and so on. Like it just keeps happening.
I mean, it's honestly...
Alexios tries to kick Neferu in the balls, like it keeps going.
That is true, you're right. You're right. It's honestly, it's a punk-ass move, and I don't think it's something you should do in any kind of fight that's fair. But man, if you need to do that, just go for it, because like, no shame in that game.
I'm not somebody who's would ever be in a fight that's fair. If I'm in a fight, something's wrong.
You are pocket sand.
Yeah. I mean, like, if I'm in a fight, it shouldn't be happening. This attack is all I have left, so when his retaliation comes, I don't do anything to defend myself. Luckily, it's not a punch or a kick, but rather he grabs the fur on the back of my head, along with my shirt, and tries pulling me back. My face stretches back as I stubbornly hold on and just yank down even harder.
No.
Just imagine, like, you pull the fur on the back of Birch's head and his face stretches.
Yeah.
Like, that's what Chase looks like right now. As he's just savaging his balls.
This next line,
His sack is stretched and distorted so badly it's barely even recognizable as balls.
It's like a tanuki, how they use them as like sails for sailboats.
Like the Miyazaki movie where they fly around.
They fly around using their nut sacks. Like, if you never looked up traditional tanuki art, you should do it. They use their balls as magical things.
That's the least anatomically correct thing about Tom Nook.
I mean,
that apron's hiding a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you don't know what's going on down there.
It's an apron of holding. His screaming suddenly cuts off with the sound of a deep, sickening smack. Immediately, Brian's body crumples onto me as he falls to his hands and knees. It happens in a way that he's splayed over me, his face inches from mine. I have time to smell his gag-inducing breath before the sound happens again. This time I see Kudzu swinging something down, hard, from overhead, and Brian's head jolts. I watch as his eyes lose their focus on me, and he slumps down. I turn my head sideways as he comes to rest on my body, crushing the air from my lungs. Kudzu's there immediately and pushes Brian's body aside, to the point of being able to pull me out. He pulls me into a sitting position next to him.
Are you okay?
He's shaking, and I can hear his ragged breath in my ear. The contrast between being engulfed in Brian's stench and to smelling Kudzu's shampooed fur and peppermint breath is striking.
Shampoo. He like got cleaned up for this little date.
He farms and bathes.
Dude,
you a man that can do both?
I was just well, if you're farming, you should also bathe. It's a good idea.
I can't speak, and instead I lean against Kudzu and wrap my arms around him as I sob. Kudzu holds me as he looks me over.
Can you walk?
I nod silently, and I press my face into the fur on his shoulder.
All right, come on. We can't stay here.
He stands slowly, keeping me in the embrace as he guides me towards the door. I don't remember much about the walk back to Kudzu's house, aside from stilted flashes of dirt and sagebrush. It's dark and hot, and my shirt immediately starts to stick to my sweaty fur. My legs are so numb that I don't even know if I'm moving them right. Kudzu has to hold on to me the entire way so I don't fall over. Crickets chirp all around us, but every few minutes I hear shouting and screams in the distance. I try to look over my shoulder to see if Brian is coming after us, but Kudzu grunts and tells me to keep watching my steps. Some circulation has returned to my legs, and I'm able to at least match Kudzu's stride over the uneven dirt road. Still, it feels like 1,000 needles are stabbing up my feet and legs in waves with every step I take. I'm genuinely afraid that I'm going to wake up any second and find myself still stuck in Brian's trailer. None of this seems real. I'm still watching my feet and the ground, so I don't notice Kudzu's house until I almost kick the bottom steps of his rusty trailer. Just the sight of a trailer is sending chills up my spine, even though Brian's trailer looks very different compared to Kudzu's.
Dude, he's probably like got great decor. Kudzu's probably like, he probably does like bonsai and like.
I mean, we know that he does his like desert-scape garden all day.
He probably like knows how to cook like a really mean like paella, and like has like really nice sheets.
He'll be the first person we've met
count.
So far in Echo that cooks.
That is, and besides Janice, who was cooking like questionable meat in the back.
She presumably cooks regular meat on other days.
We just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, but that was just Cannibalism Fridays.
Yeah.
Just that an echo tradition. And I guess we know that Flynn's family cooks because he was getting groceries. That's all we know about what he was doing.
Because he was getting groceries.
Well, like he was getting normal groceries, not like TV dinners.
Yeah.
That was his mistext. Is he texted us something nonsensical about food because he meant to text his family.
The whole thing with the TV dinner made me so upset. I like told my brother about it because he's like me and he shared my disgust. I was like, the real scary part is that you have to hang out with your ex-boyfriend and he just eats TV dinners and thinks that they're good.
Yeah.
Isn't that scary? He's like, yeah, that's scary. He has my finicky. I'm not finicky. I'm just not.
We had a magnitude 5.1 earthquake.
When?
20 minutes ago.
What the fuck? Did we?
This is my first. This is the first time I can report live on camera during a Let's Play. Californians don't notice earthquakes. So
we're immune to them, guys.
Yeah, whenever you're like, how do you live in such a state? It's like you should be talking about like property prices, not like the earthquake problem. You hear you're so bad because I'm like, maybe earthquakes.
Occasionally, it's like, oh, is that why my command strips dropped my picture?
And it wasn't my dog this time.
Yeah.
They just got a notification. I'm like, what's up with this? Yeah, it's like, you may have felt shaking. There's a 5.1 earthquake 47 miles away. Just existing and whatnot.
I think I felt an earthquake maybe one time.
I have never felt an earthquake. And I've been here for 32 years. I have heard and seen an earthquake.
You've heard and seen it?
Yeah, once an earthquake happened while I was in the kitchen. So I could listen to it because it was
like
with dishes.
Here?
No, at my second family home.
Okay.
I could hear all the dishes in the kitchen rattling. And I'm like, this is weird. Was that an earthquake?
Was it ghosts?
It was a ghost. That's how easy you could convince yourself ghosts are real. Like, that seems like ghost behavior.
I guarantee somebody.
Yeah, everything in the kitchen's making noise. Is it Nan? No, it's the magnitude 5.1.
It's definitely not Occam's razor, the most easily explainable solution, which is just, it was an earthquake.
Yeah, and the other time was in the same house. I was on the second floor of my I was on the second floor playing video games on my computer, and I'm just staring at my computer monitor, and it's wobbling, and I'm like, what? And then you just look at it, I just look up online, I'm like, was there an earthquake? I'm like, oh yeah, there was. Like, I've never felt it myself, but it expresses just slightly enough in the surrounding area that I'm like, is there an earthquake?
If I had to give like a genuine estimate as to how many earthquakes I've just existed through, it's like probably like 50. Maybe
more. I mean, who knows?
I mean, to people out there who live in an area that doesn't have constant earthquakes, like who think like it's just such like an every once in a while thing that I don't.
An every once in a while thing that someone tells you afterwards totally happened. They probably imagine like all the windows rattle and there's a rumbling noise and all the dogs are freaking out like they do at every natural event.
I look back, my dog's like been asleep. Like she did not feel the 5.1 earthquake.
Yeah, the dog in this room is KO'd. She was not a canary in the coal mine.
She would not help me out.
She did not have the freak out at the beginning of the movie that tells us that the tsunami's coming or whatever.
I have seen some really good videos though of like there was like a video of people in they're like in an office building or something, and I don't know why they have dogs there, but all of a sudden like all of the dogs run from the room. And you don't know why, but like 30 seconds later, the whole thing shakes. Like the dogs felt it from farther away. So they all ran in like the same direction away. It was just kind of trippy to see. And you see all the people being like, what? Like, what just happened? And all of a sudden, like the building shakes.
If all the dogs ran away for any reason, I wanted to say that I'd be like, oh yeah, I know I'm in a movie. I would totally be like, let's get out of here.
When there's a big earthquake, dogs escape and run away like a day before a lot of the time.
That seems not true.
I think
that seems too overhyped.
No, I think that's I'll have to look it up later.
Thinking, oh man, the amazing sixth sense of dogs, and it's like, I don't know, man. Yesterday you brought up a video where a doorbell rang and all the dogs freaked out for 10 minutes about a fake doorbell. So I don't know if I can trust these guys actually. I think I think they might be a little overhyped with their animal sense mysticism and media.
Some dogs, can smell tuberculosis and smell cancer, and like you have all these very intelligent, smart dogs that can herd sheep. And then you put on a video.
That's the most believable thing because they can learn activities.
Yeah, but you put on a video with the doorbell and they can't differentiate. Like they're just like you're like, you think they're so smart, and then you do something like that and you're like, oh yeah.
I always question how much dogs can smell anything just because of I know they have a good sense of smell. I always question stories about what they can accomplish with that.
The tuberculosis thing is true.
In part because of how much the police stuff is always just
true. That's them being trained.
They just lie.
But no, I donate money to a charity organization in Africa that uses rats and dogs to find landmines, but then also to find kids with tuberculosis. And they gave me reports on their success rates.
No, the landmine finding rats are so fucking cool.
I know. I was telling someone about that at work the other day because they make me so happy. They put on little vests on these rats, and they're not heavy enough to set off the landmines, so they let them go find landmines. And then they get to, after like a few years, they get to retire because rats in Africa live longer than the rats that we have in the US. They live like 20 years because they're not all fucked up from animal testing. But no, I mean, honestly, that's actually why, like, most pet rats people die of cancer.
Yeah.
Which is really a fucked up thing. Like, they don't die of old age, they die of, like, cancer. It's pretty fucked up. But no, these rats, they're called hero rats, and they wear little outfits, and they go find landmines, and then when they're like 10, they get to retire, and they just eat bananas all day, and like get to live like a really chill, cool life. It's the greatest thing ever. A whole bunch of countries are landmine free because of this program that teaches rats to find landmines. So if you ever want to feel really happy, just look up videos of these really cute rats doing work for people and feeling really good about it, and then eating bananas. Like, it'll be a good start of your day. Much better than what we just witnessed in this game, which makes you feel real bad.
I hope you enjoyed your palate cleanser, everybody.
Yeah.
We stand in front of his door for a while as the raccoon fishes through his pockets for his keys. It's made extra difficult with me hanging on to him. I can stand on my own if you...
Got it.
Kudzu whips out a small gold-colored key before sliding it into the lock.
I wonder if he also likes shiny things, like raccoons do.
Once we're inside, Kudzu immediately kicks the door closed behind us before reaching back to turn the deadlock. There's an irony to the most clean-cut person in all of Echo being a raccoon.
Yeah, that is pretty funny, actually.
With their direct association with garbage.
And deviousness.
The inside of Kudzu's trailer is the opposite of its exterior. It's brightly lit and tidy, nothing like Brian's place. It's a little cramped, as any trailer would be, but the furniture's arranged neatly, and the kitchen is spotless. He spends all day cleaning it.
Oh.
Everything looks way newer than the trailer is on the outside. I imagine the raccoon did a lot of work to get it to look like this. Kudzu quickly guides me to a small love seat and makes as if to lay me down. I put a hand against his chest, feeling my stomach turn. Wait, I think I'd rather sit up.
He's been laying down all day.
Yeah, I think he very much does not want to be laid down again for like a year.
He sleeps on his side exclusively now. Do you need anything? Food? Or drink?
Kudzu's looking into my eyes with his dark browns, the brows above them furrowed in deep concern. I nod slowly, so as not to upset my stomach again. Just water, please.
Sure.
Kudzu quickly hurries off to the kitchen, and I slowly lean into the cushions behind me. I'm not tired at all, but I feel numb, and not just physically. My arms throb, and it feels like the leather straps are still bound around my wrists. It even feels as if they're being pulled by an invisible force. Like, if I relaxed, my arms would float back up into that fixed position. I shudder, hugging my body, then look around, trying to find something else to focus on. A grouping of 3 picture frames on on a small side table next to the love seat catches my attention. From where I'm sitting, I can see Kudzu in one of them, beaming at the camera. It's actually kind of weird to see him smiling like that.
Yeah, I can't really picture it.
There's an arm around his neck, and I start to lean over a bit to see who it is.
Here.
Kudzu appears in front of me again, holding out a glass of water. I straighten back up against the cushions. Once I take the glass, he holds out his other hand with 2 white pills resting in the back pad of his palm.
Acetaminophen. If you're in pain.
I definitely am, so I take it and the glass without a word and swallow it down. For a second my stomach sours, and I feel like it's gonna come back up, but only for a second. Kudzu steps back and watches me. Even though his face maintains its stoic, almost glare, I see his hands fidgeting together in front of his stomach. I nod weakly at a recliner across from me. You want to sit or something? But can I offer you your seat in your own house?
In your own home, yeah.
Kudzu seems to consider, then walks over to the recliner. He sits on the very edge of the cushion, back rigid, continuing to stare at me. I take another sip of water, less this time so as not to upset my stomach. It looks like he wants to say something, but keeps silent, lips pressed together. Kudzu watches me the whole time. What's wrong? Kudzu opens his mouth, then closes it, thinking before opening again.
Are you okay?
Yeah. Sort of. I mean, I'm not gonna die, I think. I'm not really sure if I'm completely okay. Everything still feels numb. My thoughts feel sluggish, too. And something that's been nagging at the back of my mind since I got here suddenly bubbles up to the surface. Did you call the police? I absentmindedly reach for my phone in my pocket, but it's not there. I have no idea where it is at this point. Was it still at Leo's house? There's a tight look of consternation on Kudzu's face.
Phones aren't working. Even my landline isn't working.
My foggy brain tries to process this. What? Why did the phone lines break or something? Kudzu shakes his head.
I don't know.
Should we walk to my car or something and drive to Peyton? I look back out the pitch black window. We need to tell someone right now. Janice and Leo's still out there. There's no way Janice hasn't been found by now. There should be police everywhere. Where are the cops? I turn back to Kudzu, feeling sick again. Kudzu doesn't say anything, and he's got a strange look on his face, like he's trying to figure out how to tell me something. Finally, he stands up.
I'll figure something out. Listen, I think you need to get some rest.
I frown. But we need to get someone out here. What if Brian comes after me? I shrink in on myself at the thought, feeling goosebumps erupt over my arms. Kudzu steps closer to me and awkwardly reaches out to put a hand on my shoulder.
You'll be fine. Do you want to lay down in my bed? Ooh-wee.
I don't say anything. My head's still trying to catch up.
It's a waterbed. Dude, Kudzu's obviously the best choice.
Because I'm a water bear.
Oh, you're a yeah.
He's a wash bear.
Otter.
No, the raccoons are called wash bears.
Wash bears?
Yeah.
Where are they called wash bears?
In Germany.
Oh, because they wash things?
Yeah, it's not spelled that way, but I think it's pronounced that way and means that. Because the way that, like, because they always try to wash their food and everything.
Just someone needs to hand Kudzu some cotton candy.
No, that's raccoon bullying. That's such a tragic video.
I know, he looks so disappointed.
It's just like, that's like a horror moment from Echo. Just like your favorite thing just disappearing in your hands, and you just like grasp at nothing, and you can't get it back.
You see the raccoon pull his hands out and like look at them, and then look down again, and then look at his hands.
It's so horrible. For those that aren't aware, cotton candy is immediately gone when it gets wet. It just disappears.
So some mean person handed some raccoons cotton candy, and they went to go wash it in the stream, and then immediately realized it was gone and looked like perplexed as they couldn't figure out what had happened to the food that they were previously holding.
It's a waterbed. That's the most water you found in Echo.
Like, what a fucking bachelor with his nice little cute pad and his nice little garden and his water bed. Like, he's obviously the most sophisticated person in town.
He's a 10, but he's got a water bed.
I mean, I've never slept on a waterbed, but
I have not heard good things about waterbeds.
I always think of the Goofy movie, because there's that part where
everything's animated distressingly in that movie.
There's a part where they go to yeah, the pizza Cheese Whiz. But there's a part where they go to like a hotel, and it's all like, I remember so specifically that there's a light switch with a mermaid on it or something. It's all like ocean themed, and there's like seashells everywhere, and he gets on the waterbed, and it's animated so like fluidly, and then his friend was like playing around with the waterbed, and it's just like, just watching that movie and seeing the way that he like Goofy moves when he lays down on the waterbed, it's so trippy. Yeah. As a kid, it made me always want to try one and see what it was like. But the thought of having a bunch of water under you, and the thought of like the immediate water damage, just makes it not like,
yeah,
I
literally, whenever I hear about a waterbed, the only thought that ever comes to mind is the idea of all the water coming out.
Yeah, but like in the 70s...
Which, granted, we've had a fish tank explode in this house, but...
Yeah.
That was a lot of water.
But it's like 1970s, like, fuck pad type bachelor heart-shaped waterbed, which I don't think is possible. Like, I just think of it as like some hairy dude with a gold chain being like, come lay with me on my waterbed.
The waterbed rotates.
Yeah, perhaps, yeah.
I'm just wondering what he was trying to tell us about, or he's deciding not to tell us about. Like, does he know something about Leo, or did he kill Brian and he's just opting not to go into that, and it's like, you'll be fine, or
I hope so.
Or is it just a general sense of like things are so bad out there and he's just opting not to get into it?
I think it's the last one, because I think he's like, you've been through a lot, let's not talk about this right now, we can try to figure it out later. I don't think he knows anything about anybody.
Because it seems like a reassurance that isn't true.
Well, I think the reassurance is just that, like, focus on feeling better, and then we'll deal with all the fucked up stuff tomorrow. Like, you know.
Yeah, I'm like Brian can just get back up at any time and is dangerous.
Oh,
and
gosh.
Can just show up.
I would want to have an enemy that's that dude.
Yeah, and he saw Kuzu.
He definitely saw Kuzu.
So he even knows where to go.
Yeah.
If we're still here. It's exactly the same thing as when Clint attacked us, and then we just stayed in a house with like a window, and I'm like, he knows where we are. Like, he could just come back and do that again. Just
us staying in town, it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
I agree with our idea of going into our car and driving somewhere else. I think it's what we should do.
Yeah. Well, next episode, it's a waterbed.
We'll see the bad decisions we make next time.